Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Under the Iron Flag. I get no, of Under the Iron Flag podcast. It's not from our normal podcast, our normal One Piece podcast, but it is part of the Under the Iron Flag channel,
It is, in fact,
team.
under the Iron Flag.
Yes, I picked a cool
That's
name,
that's
man.
why I was insistent on naming it like the channel name rather than the podcast for the One Piece one.
Right, right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's the flag. It's under the flag. The whole channel. Get it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you keep calling it the banner.
I do. That is true.
Because Lucian isn't here with us this week, he's a little bit busy, got tied up cleaning up our captain's mess on the ship. So it's just me and Agr0 today. Am I still navigator and captain, or do we do different roles when we're talking about different things other than
Uh,
One Piece?
you are the commander of the podcast, and I am just a loyal grunt soldier.
You're gonna get your Titan fodder?
Exactly. You are the uh. Wait, no.
But I
You
become Titan fodder too!
you are the
Ah!
Hanji. I am the Levi. Lucian was the Erwin. Rip.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Make sure
Spoilers!
to
Oh
post
my
a
God.
big spoiler banner on the front, right there. Uh, full
I promise when.
spoilers for
Yes.
all of final season up to that. Nothing from part
Yes.
3, which is not out yet, or the manga. I have read the
Yes,
manga. I
because
will not be spoiling any of those last 9 chapters whatsoever.
I haven't read the manga. Okay, we need to back up a bit.
Okay.
This episode, we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan, the anime, specifically season four, and maybe other stuff if we want to. Um, because me and Inagra have been wanting to do this for a while, and Lucian also did not want to do this. So he is, in effect, the ex-commander, you could
It's
say,
very
if we're
convenient.
doing the roles here. Yes, it's very convenient, actually, yes. And Levi happens to be your favorite character, so it's actually, and Hanji is one of my favorite characters too, so
My
kind of
third
works out
favorite
really
character.
well.
Third favorite.
Wait, Levi's your third favorite
Uh
night
huh.
thing?
Yep.
Oh man, I messed that
Guess
up.
now I want you to
Uh,
guess my top two.
you've always said, I just remembered, it's
Let's see.
Aaron and what was the second one? It's not Erwin,
Nope.
is it?
Nope. He's number 14 or
Oh, you have
15.
freaking remember the numbers above 10.
Yeah, I have my top
Um,
20.
is it Reiner?
No, he's number 5.
Oh, who is it? Annie?
No, she's number 6. Now I want you to
I'm
keep
getting
going.
everybody.
Keep going. Let's go. Let's go.
Um, John,
9,
Armin.
10,
What? Mika?
4.
Oh, I'm so close. It's not Annie Reiner. Is it somebody from Marley?
Yes.
Okay. Season four. Are they in season four?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it's Zeke. I'm stupid.
Who? Who do you say?
Zeke Yeager?
Zeke? No, he's
Zeke
11.
Yeager. Oh my God. Who is
They debut
who
in
is from
final
Marley
season.
and is in season four, final season? Were they introduced in the final season?
Yes.
What? Who am I missing?
A lot of
Are
characters,
they?
actually.
I yeah, that's true. But a lot of them die in like the first three episodes. Uh,
They're part of the Alliance.
the, everybody's part of the Alliance. What do you mean?
That's fair.
Everybody's against Paradise.
Well, yeah, well,
Is it? It's not Willie Tiber. No,
no,
it's not
he's not.
him. He's
He's not
too
in the top
fodder.
20.
Uh,
They are where you're at, alive and on the boat. They're on the boat.
what? Is it the on Young Capone?
Onyekuma? No, he's like number 20, I think.
Oh, come on. Why am I? You're gonna say it, and I'm gonna be like, of
Uh
course.
huh. Yeah, you're missing a three from my top 20. Four, four.
Ah, it's Gabby.
It
It's
is.
Gabby,
Yes, it's
right?
Gabby. Yep.
Oh, I got it.
Mm.
So stupid. Because
The best.
you know, when I think I do like Gabby, but I don't put her like in like top 10 list. I don't do lists,
Mm.
right? You know me,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hate
No, you don't.
ranking.
You hate them. I have to convince you every single episode to still do it.
Yeah, but yeah, I can see why she's your second because she's kind of like Erin, but better. Like she learns the right lessons,
That's a good way to put it.
and you love Erin, so Erin's your number one.
Yeah,
Gabby,
she's definitely
most like Erin.
very, very obviously made as a parallel to both Aaron and Reiner, who
Yeah,
is my fifth favorite
yeah.
character.
Okay, but before we get into season four of Attack on Titan,
Hmm.
I want to personally talk about how I got into the series and like,
Yes, we should both do that.
because
You go first.
it's a really interesting story. So, well, at least I think it's interesting. I
Do
don't
you
know if
want me to go
you
first since
think it's
mine's uninteresting, or do you want to go first and then I'll tell the uninteresting story?
interesting. I think I'll go first
Okay.
because I really do want to say. Um, so Attack on Titan, the anime came out in like 2013, I believe. And it was like all the rage and everybody's really excited about it. There's like a famous anime YouTuber who always says he went to a water cooler at work and the first ever anime he heard somebody at work talk about was Attack on Titan. And so that's how popular it was at the time. And especially with Game of Thrones
Yeah.
being
See,
out in the
I
same time.
I didn't watch it back then, but
Yeah.
I knew of like I grouped it together with The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. It was like the first
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
season or two of Walking Dead and the first season or two of Game of Thrones, and Attack on Titan was lumped in together with them. Where I
Yeah.
I didn't watch anime at all even back then, but I knew of it. I knew it was in that
Which is
category.
so weird to me. It's so weird to me that you weren't into anime in 2013. That's so
2016
strange. Um,
Fairy
and I
Tale,
remember it came out when it was
first one.
super popular. Fairy Tale is the best. It was super popular, and I tried to watch it because I don't remember who it was, my sister or something like that was liked it, and I just didn't like the gore. I didn't like that everybody was dying. It made me feel sad that everybody was dying, and so I stopped. Like I watched the first episode with her, and I knew the premise. The premise was that everybody dies, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not doing this. It's too sad." And so I didn't watch it for the longest time. Like I didn't watch it until season four was announced. Okay, so season four is announced. I'm still not gonna watch it. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Season four is coming out. It's like big anime,
The
global
final
phenomenon,
season, we
yada yada."
promise there will not be two extra seasons we call final season as well.
Yeah. So the final season's coming out, and I was like, that's really cool. Like, my taste has kind of changed over the years, and I was a little bit older, so I actually started reading horror stuff, so I could handle like gore stuff now. Um, and but I still was like, I'm not gonna watch it because I didn't like that first episode. I hate that first episode. So bad for me. I like cringe when I watch it. It's just so
I hate it. It's like one of my
so
favorite first episodes ever.
The thing is, it's a good first episode, but I think for me, I went into it like hating it already. And so when he says the line of the wall hasn't been broken in like 100 years or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then literally the next second, the Colossal Titan comes and breaks the wall in. I started laughing so hard. I was like, this is so like bad. I thought it was like badly written or like whatever like that. But I know it's a really good episode, I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it for what it does, but I had a bad
Only like
experience with it
top
because of my
three anime first episodes ever, up there with Samurai Champloo and Kill la Kill.
Ooh,
Definitely
Kill la Kill's first episode's really good
very
too.
good. Probably its best episode, to
Um,
be honest. Good show.
but I just I went into it with a bad. And the thing is, like in between the season four finale, I watched like the
Which one?
first arc. I watched the until
No, I meant which
Tross.
season
And
four
so
finale.
No, before they announced season four
Okay.
coming out, like in that hiatus period, it was
Mm-hmm.
in a hiatus period. I like watched until Trost. I skipped the first episode and I watched until Trost. And then I was like, wow, this is really good. And then I just like kind of fell off and I never got back into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that it's good, right? But I'm just not into it because of a bunch of other things, right? So um, and then I like to watch a lot of YouTube and video essayists in general. And there was a video essay about Attack on Titan. And I was like, cool, I'll watch this. Like I've already
Mm-hmm.
spoiled myself on a bunch of stuff anyways, might as well get into this. And so I watched this video essayist. I won't say his name, um, but he's like I really like him a lot. I like a lot of his videos and like I learned a lot of writing stuff from him. But he this video was so weird because it's like he didn't even watch the show, you know? Like he had such a bad take on it. And we were talking about this before we started recording, like what should we mention, what shouldn't we mention when we talk about Attack on Titan because it has like this very bad like perception of being uh like pro-war and pro like discrimination and just like all this weird stuff that it's not. Like if you read it and understand it, what it's trying to say, it's none of those things, but people take it out of context or they you know, and if they do agree with those messages, then they're not reading it correctly or they're interpreting it incorrectly. And it was just this entire video was just that. It was like, oh, Attack on Titan is pro discrimination, it's pro war, it's like all the things that it isn't. And I was really shocked that such a researched person, like this YouTuber that I really respect, he's well researched. He makes a lot of really good videos. Like the fact that he couldn't take the time to watch the whole show and research it like properly. Like he really cherry picked a lot of stuff. I won't go into a lot of detail, but
Mm-hmm.
he said. Um, it just like I said to myself, I'm like, I haven't watched the show, and I know you're wrong. Like that's how wrong he was. And it was it was that and the fact that season four had just come out and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spite everything and I'm gonna watch it just to like know that he's wrong. Just because I respected him for so long and I was like, this is such BS. And so I decided to watch it to understand what he got wrong. And I ended up watching 3 seasons worth of television in less than like 3 weeks. Like 2 weeks. Yeah. And I think it was during my finals of my like sophomore or junior year or something like that. I think that's the story. That's it.
It's a good story. Um,
But like I got into it just to spite somebody, you know? I'm like,
I mean,
just
hey,
you're so wrong.
you really did it. You did spite them.
Yeah,
Like
and if you
it.
read the comments of that video,
Mm,
they're all like, okay, clearly they were all like, you're wrong, bro. Like, what are
yeah,
you saying?
it's as
All the
simple
comments were
as
like,
depicting a thing does not equal promoting the thing.
that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Like obviously, John Wick. Obviously, you know what the pro murder
That's a
film.
good example.
Uh,
Like,
like there is
how are
a.
you, I saw this comment where it's like,
Mm,
how are you supposed to show the atrocities of war without showing the atrocities of war?
yeah, it's like you can't just pretend it didn't happen or it will happen again, which is a point in the book. It's the whole. Okay, again, I don't like talk. I've mentioned before, in the past in things off air. I don't like talking about this series because then it just makes me mad at people. But I love it. It's my favorite series ever, so
It
I do
is
like
really
talking about it.
good.
Um,
It's probably one of my
okay.
favorite world building
Mhm.
in a series ever. Like other than One Piece, which is saying a lot because I don't know if you guys have heard the One Piece podcast, but I'm obsessed with One
Possibly.
Piece.
If not, go.
So
You should go check out our One Piece podcast if you
yes,
like One Piece.
it's called We Just Want to Talk About One Piece.
You can just click the name on the channel you're on right now, and there it'll be multiple episodes.
But I want to know how you got into Attack on Titan because I think you've told me the story before, but I don't
Okay,
remember it really
so
well.
it's 20. It's 2017. It's summer 2017. Actually, I might be wrong. When did season 2 air?
I have no idea because I was so like not following it at all.
Uh,
Season 2 was 12 episodes though, and it came
yes.
back.
And it was a big deal because it had like come back. Okay, so yeah, it was June. It would have been
Mm.
June 10th, 2017. Season 2, episode 11 comes out. And I see a post on r/anime of a GIF of I don't know if you remember, but the shot of Historia, like just flying through the air in that episode. That was really, really well done.
Oh yeah, that's so beautiful. When
Yeah,
she uses ODM
you
gear.
can know the shot I'm talking about when I'm just casually mentioning it. Like it's good. It's a
Yeah.
good shot. I was like, "Hello, my friend Lucian, who I'm only talking to through Reddit at this point, not even voice chat or anything."
You met Lucian through Reddit?
Yes, on r/anime. That's a story for a different time. But I was
Oh
like,
my God.
"Is Attack on Titan good? Would I like it?" And he said, "Yes, probably." And then he was doomed.
You released the beast.
Uh,
Yeah, I knew.
but I watched it all in. I believe it was 3 days. No, 4 days. It was 4 days. I caught up to the. I waited till that weekend and then watched it all in like 4 days, and it caught up to
Wow.
that, and
4 days.
then immediately read all of the manga from that point. I
What?
caught up to the manga the next I think it was the next weekend. Like I took that first day and just read it all that Saturday.
Oh, only season 2 had come out, so
Yeah,
you didn't watch 3 seasons in 4 days. You watched
no.
2 seasons for four
It was
days.
2 seasons across 4 days, so that was still 30 something episodes. But and then I read it would have been from chapter 50 to chapter 97 in I think it was
Hmm.
97 in about a day, little less than that.
Man, Lucian did really. He's Frankenstein. You're Frankenstein's monster.
But then I kept up with it from there. Every now and then, I'd go a month where I just wouldn't read it. As much as I loved it, and I've always did, there was just times of, it's a month between chapters. Every now and then, you'll forget that chapter's out. Or be like, well, I'll just wait
Yeah.
till next time, and then I can read two back to back. It happens
Oh, okay.
sometimes. But
Yeah.
I was
And
for
the
the
funny
most
thing
part,
is,
yeah.
Lucian hasn't read the last chapter.
Nope. He has read everything except for the very last chapter. He caught up the week before the last chapter came out. Actually, no, he didn't. He caught up after the leaks had come out for chapter 139, and then he didn't read it. Still hasn't. It's
The
been
poor
over a
guy.
year. They released an extended
Give him a
edition of that
break.
chapter. I'm not going to give him a
He has
break.
to play his visual novels.
He
Poor
read
guy.
He okay. Wait. He read all like three whole manga in a day, I believe, if I remember correctly. He read all of Chainsaw Man in a day. He read all of this other manga he's trying to get me to read in a day, but he can't read one chapter. But you go on, make some other point so I don't call out Lucian more.
Go ballistic.
Hmm.
Uh,
But I've been
man, now I just
reading ever since. I read into
yeah.
all the way to the last chapter.
Yeah, no, I'm not reading it because I prefer the anime adaptation better. And also I heard that like the I know the manga's art is good. It's not that he's bad or anything like that, but it's just not my cup of tea, I guess you could say.
I actually,
Uh,
when the series is over, the anime, I gonna need you to read the manga because I need to know what you
oh,
think after
come on.
that. Because I
Yeah,
do
because
okay.
I think season 3 has the biggest differences, and I prefer the anime version of it.
As far as you know,
I
maybe
heard
you don't.
the difference. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I can read horror. I can read it and now I can watch it now thanks to Attack on Titan. It's taken a big leap for me to deal with that kind of thing. Like Korean
Mm.
manhwas, webtoons. Home Sweet Home was one of those big ones that like got me into horror a little bit more, but I still like we were watching a movie yesterday. Me and my family, we went to the movie theater
Mm.
and there was two trailers for two horror movies and I couldn't handle it. Me and my sister, we left the theater just to get away from those trailers. It was too much. Um, no, I think my sister was the one who left and I stayed. And oh God, it was so scary. I can't. I think it was because it's movie trailers. It's actually movie trailers that make me scared of horror because there was this movie trailer when I went to watch X-Men Days of Future Past when it came out. I went to watch it and I remember it very vividly. This girl, she went to eat an apple and she took a bite and the apple turned into a glass bulb and she had glass in her mouth and I couldn't eat apples for like a month because of that. So, what was that? What were we talking about? The
Horror
manga.
manga.
So, yes, the manga. So, like, I guess, I don't know. I'll have to like steel myself and read it in a very bright room
Well,
with like
I mean, I
comfort
think
food next to me.
I think the only part of the series that can be even mildly considered a little horror, which I'd call it a stretch to be honest, is like Trost arc, and that's it.
Yeah,
Like after, and again, I think this is a big thing is that the reputation of the series is still like an outsider probably still going to think it's about it's what Trost arc is, which
right.
is not 90% of it. I know someone
Mm.
who actually I know two people in particular. One of them watched it and then when it started going away from that didn't like that because they wanted more of that. And the other person didn't
Yeah,
get through
season.
that arc because they wanted more of the what the series becomes.
I think I think season three is my favorite season t still to this day. Season four hasn't reached that for me because in season four we leave the oh I'm gonna get eaten by titans to there's actually a political thing going on and
Mm-hmm.
like there's more to the story like within the walls, not just outside the walls. And I just love that shift in not in tone but in story,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. It changes from it's like if The Walking Dead became like what's the show? The White House? No.
What?
Like House of Cards or like a
Oh,
political
okay.
show, you know? Uh
That wait, but then that Walking Dead would be good.
The West Wing.
Uh
The
huh.
West Wing
Mm-hmm.
is my favorite. The West Wing is my
See,
favorite
again,
political show
I
on
think that's
TV.
why I love it so
Um
much. Attack on Titan is that it started as a thing. I went, I'll watch this cool action horror thing. Why not? And then I really liked it, and then it slowly, every single episode and chapter became more and more a thing I made for me that I would like. Like it was something I
isn't it
already
really cool
liked that
finding
became
something like
more and
that?
more suited to my taste.
And it did for me too. So
Mm.
I used to like not like I think that like I told you, I watched the Trust District and then I kind of
Mm-hmm.
fell off early on.
Yeah.
And so I really like that Aaron didn't win, like it's that moment where you're like, he's charging and we're gonna defeat the Titans and all that stuff, and then they all die because of him, probably. I think it's still his fault that they all died in Trost, like the girl with the pigtails and Tom and all those others.
Oh, you mean the like
Because
the
Aaron,
ones that were a part of his squad?
yes, yes, I think
Oh
they all
yeah,
died
obviously.
because he charged erratically.
Yep.
I think
That's pretty
still on
blatant.
him. And then when he saved Armin, that was such a strong moment for me because like he's lost his leg and he's still saving people, which was really cool for me. And then he just like I knew he didn't die, but I was like, wait, how does he get out of this
Man,
situation? Because I didn't know how the
I
Titan transformation
I
worked
went
yet.
so long being disappointed that Aaron didn't stay dead. Now he's my favorite
Really?
character ever. Asterisk, I'm not a Nazi. Don't worry. Aaron is wrong. Asterisk, please don't look at me like that. I swear I just liked his writing. I saw someone say, don't ever trust someone with an Aaron profile picture, and they're right. But also, I hate it because he's my favorite character ever.
Do you want to talk about that? Just like the whole.
We'll get to that. I first wanted to mention
Okay,
it. So
yeah.
you don't know any of the manga like anime changes. I think one of the biggest ones, is the training arc, right?
Yeah, like right before Trost.
Mm-hmm. That happened after Trost arc in the manga.
What?
Yeah. So
It's a big yikes.
because because the whole thing with manga, you want to get right to the stuff within your first
Yeah.
volume, and so they wanted to get to the shot of the iconic shot of Eren, like on top of the wall, face to face with the colossal titan.
Yes.
It's on all the posters. It's the coolest shot ever. That's the shot they used to end the first volume, which is 4 chapters.
Oh. Oh,
So
that's
we go
cool.
right from Shingashina to, and he trained, and they
Trost.
had a whole arc, and they're older now, and they're soldiers. Oh no, they're attacking again.
I,
Uh,
I like the I
oh,
like the anime version better.
I do too. I think it builds up side characters, and then you have, for instance, remember, spoilers for everything. Annie, um, rather than coming in later, she's there earlier.
Okay.
Like she, if you
She's
don't get
not
to learn it,
introduced
you don't get to learn about her
until
character
Trost?
until right before. Like she's in Trost, but she has barely anything. You don't learn about her
Right, right, right,
character
right.
outside of the training arc, and if the training arc is after, that means you don't learn about her until like 5 chapters before female Titan appears.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
So
good thing the anime
it's
did
a
that.
it's a
That's why I
the biggest change in the first season, and that definitely still the best change. I
okay.
I go back and forth on like which version I like more, but season 1 is definitively the anime I think is better.
Hmm. I
Cuz
didn't know that. That's interesting.
I think there's just a general
Because
small changes like that, and then the art in the beginning is not the best, to be honest. Like it grows and changes. There's no manga out there more that shows the improvement of an artist than this one. By the like last 15, 20 chapters, it's some of the best art out there of any manga. But at the beginning, it's very scratchy and inconsistent at times.
I think it works for that horror aspect though,
Mm-hmm.
because season one is the most horror-ish
Mm-hmm.
aspect. So, and I think that's why I didn't want to read
Yeah.
it because it was so scary. So I guess it works to his advantage.
But yeah,
Hmm.
it's there's some good changes, some bad ones, but
That's interesting. Um, what else can we talk about?
I realized like we kind of talked ourselves into a corner right there. How did we get there?
Mhm.
I'll talk about other changes. So, because you're here, why not? This will be new
Okay.
information for you. So season 2, nothing. For the most part, 99% no changes. It's very very faithful, except Ymir's flashback scene where
Hmm.
she talks and everything. That doesn't
Hmm.
happen there. That scene is shown when Historia reads her letter at the end of, like, in chapter 97. No, wait, no, no, 97.
At the end of season three?
87. Yeah. That is when the Ymir flashback is shown.
Oh,
So that thing had only
yikes.
appeared in the manga like 3 months, 2 or 3 months before the anime.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was
Like
like
where
where
where she's growing up and
yeah,
she becomes the like fake goddess
yeah,
and
the shot of
like
her
she gets
staring up at the stars after waking up.
yeah. Ooh,
And
that's one
that
of the
whole
best
thing.
shots in the whole
Oh
show.
yeah, no, I think that's probably my favorite shot in the whole series. It's at least up there. But that whole thing wasn't in season 2 at all. I think
Yeah,
it's
so that scene, sorry.
there you go.
So that scene with Ymir where she's staring up the stars, it made me think that there was a desert on the island, but
Mhm. Mhm.
she's not on a desert. She's in the paths, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. But again,
Okay.
at that point, you didn't really know about has in either like way of revealing her backstory. I think what happened
Mm-hmm.
is the Isayama left like he left plot threads for Ymir that he needed to close because he decided to kill her off. And he used the letter to tell that. Whereas when they made the anime, whoever decided let's put it here and have all of Ymir's arc in season two.
That's really good actually, because she's gone after season 2, so it
Yeah,
kind of
and
wraps up her
so
story.
rather than just finishing that off later in one scene, get it all right there in one condensed story arc. She's number 12 on my list.
She's a really good character. I
I
like
love
her a
her.
lot.
Used to be higher.
I only
Back when it was like when I first watched it, she was my favorite character. Like as of chapter
Interesting.
97, so as a final before final season, she was my favorite.
Do you want to know who my favorite character is?
But sure, list your top 20 in order.
In top 20, get out of here. Shut up.
I can do
Um,
it.
I can't. I have to think about it. It like it switches between Levi and Bertold. It's kind of like if I'm
Okay.
feeling, but if I'm feeling like I want to be unique, I go
Mm-hmm.
towards Bertold. But if I'm feeling like, oh, Levi is the best, I go towards
I
Levi.
did hold
But
out for a while on Levi. Levi's not that cool. I don't know about that guy. I think he's fine. He's not a great character. Then I rewatched it one of
uh,
the infinite times I've rewatched it. It's like, oh wait, he's one of the best. Remember? Okay, I'm not saying anything. The Ymir shot, not my favorite panel. That's all I'm gonna say. I know what my favorite
where
panel
you
is, and I don't have to think
where
about it.
Ymir is staring at the stars and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
was I was saying maybe that might be my favorite panel in the whole series. It is not. It is a later Levi panel, and that's all I'll say.
My favorite shot from the anime is not that either. It's when Bertolt is flying towards the sky. I think this is why he's like one of my
That's a
favorites.
good
And
shot.
season
Yeah.
3 is my favorite season, where he's flying into the sky and he's saying, "Nobody is wrong.
Mm,
We just live in a cruel world." And he looks behind him at the ground. I think that's one of my favorite like shots before he
mm.
turns into Colossal Titan in Shingishina. I think that's one of my favorite shots, and I think that's why he's my favorite character because he kind of goes through this arc of like accepting that this is a cruel like when he told Armin, he's like, "You're my friend, but I still want you dead." I was like, "What? Like, are you okay? Is something wrong with your head?"
Mm.
And then we get into Marley, and it kind of like it's the seeds of Marley, I guess. And
Yeah, he's
I love the Marley arc a lot too. So he kind of like sets that up really well with that just that one scene, and he has such little screen time. Like
yeah. He gets
what the author
really
does
good
with
for what
him.
he has. And he's used
Yeah.
as he's the last of the warriors. Well, other than the children, he's the last of the
Yes.
warriors to how to put it depro what is deprogramming themselves. What would he
Yeah.
whatever the word is for that. He's the last one to get it. Reiner, to be fair, takes him longer to accept it, but he gets it way earlier. He just denies it for
Yeah.
about a decade.
Do you think
Uh,
do you think it's because Annie, she's not even programmed, I don't think, from the beginning. I think she knows it's all BS because of the thing with her dad. So,
that's
and
fair, though.
Reiner,
She did like,
I mean,
yeah, you're right. She never really did. That is a good
yeah,
point.
And then Bertold, he kind of deprogrammed earlier, I think, because he had like a stable home, maybe. Like he had his mom and his dad with him. I don't think either of his parents died or left or whatever.
Mm,
But Reiner, it's like, it's so, his relationship with his father and his mother is the reason, and their broken family kind of dynamic is the
yeah.
reason why he's so like, he needs a father figure, and the army provides that for him, and becoming a
Mm,
warrior provides that for him, you know? And and then like I felt so crushed when they go back and like they explain everything basically in the Marley arc, and he actually goes to his dad after he becomes a warrior and his dad still hates him.
yeah.
That like crushed me because I was like everything makes sense now, like why he's doing all of this and like why they're doing all of this and why it's taking him longer for him to deprogram, like you said, from the propaganda that Marley has infused into his brain this whole time.
Hmm.
It's because he didn't have a stable home when he was younger, and his mom is a problem too. I'm not saying that it's only just his dad, because she was the one like you have to become a warrior or else like we're basically trash. Like she doesn't even have any self-worth, you know? And that's one of the things that I really like about Attack on Titan is it's not pro-war, it's pro-human. Like it doesn't matter like
Yeah,
where you're
like
from
a lot
or
of
who your
people,
parents
yeah,
are.
exactly. A lot of people like point to being sympathetic to characters like Magath, who was,
Yeah.
a commander in the definitely not a Nazi allegory army, definitely not. For a long while, but the whole point of him is to show that like even the worst people have their reasons. They might not necessarily be good, or they might not be good people, but they are people, and they did those horrible things for whatever reason.
Yeah. They did those horrible things, but it doesn't excuse what they
No,
did. Like
no,
they have a
and
reason, but it doesn't excuse it.
Aaron is the prime example. Aaron is the character we
Hmm.
were following the whole time. He's the character we are written to sympathize with for most of the series. Uh, he is the POV character for the first I don't know the episode count, but 90 chapters of 139 chapters. He's the sole POV character. Well, you know what I'm saying. He's the main
Yeah, yeah.
guy. He's our
Yes.
main. We obviously we're gonna root for the hero, right? And then he uses that to show like that it forces you to understand and empathize with Aaron, even though he's going to do the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's very human. I realized that in season three when we go into the backstory with his mom and his dad,
Mm.
specifically what his mom and Sadis, if you remember, like they were a thing before.
Yes.
She met what's his name? Oh, I forgot his dad's name. Grisha.
Grisha.
Grisha Yeager.
I don't think
Grisha's such a unique name.
Shadis ever and her were ever actually together. I think it was
No, I
just
think he liked
yeah. He
her,
he did
right?
like Carla. Yes.
And I love Carla's words when she's like, "My son is already special because
Because I was
he was born into
born
this
into
world."
this world. The line, the
What do you think of
iconic
that
line.
line? Because what do you think of that line? Because that line
Oh,
really
it's
impacted
it's
me.
the main like it's Aaron's catchphrase. Uh, it's the
Yeah,
main
but like,
line. I don't know. I go to the again. Remember those insane people I've talked about in the past who were like, "Man, Aaron's the
yes.
coolest." Wow, wasn't that a cool line? I go to them to be honest. But if I'm thinking about it in the context of a story, it's that line changes depending on when Aaron is and when that is used. Almost every single
Yeah,
time
that's a good
it's
way to
used in
put
a
it.
different context.
Hmm.
But it's to show the change while still being the same.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. I think for me, it was really like impactful because I don't want to get into specifics, but for
Yeah.
the longest time, I've always like expected more of myself. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have to do more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And recently I've been going back into, I don't mean to go on a tangent, but I've been going back into my faith and it's been teaching me to like appreciate myself more and to like
Mm-hmm.
be like, no, like do the work, but like don't sell yourself short, right? And then so seeing that idea and learning that and then watching that scene, it kind of all like trifecta, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it all hit me at the same time. What do they call it? Emotional damage, like that meme. It kind of hit me all at the same time. And the fact that Attack on Titan has a lot of uh Islamic ideas in it.
Mm-hmm.
Islam is my religion. which is really strange to me. I don't know if I want to make a video about it or not, but one of the that line specifically, it is an Islamic idea, and I just like that there is a medium that I can relate to, not just personally, but religiously as
Mhm.
well. That's why it's such a big line for me, not just because it's Aaron's catchphrase or anything like that, but it hit me at the perfect moment in my life. And so I will always remember that line. And I think his mother is probably one of my favorite characters too, as well.
His
She's a
mom's
really good
okay.
one as well.
I feel like she is more of a plot device than a character, but she's a good plot device. She's a nice lady.
That's fair. That's a fair assumption. Yeah, what little we get of her is good. And Grisha too.
Oh, Grisha's number 18.
Oh man. I remember when they're going through the paths, Zeke
Mm-hmm.
and Aaron and me and my sister were watching, and I'm just like, Zeke, you're an idiot, you're stupid. He's messing with you. He's gonna win. And he does. And it's all because like and Zeke is the opposite of that. He is the opposite of Aaron's mom, who is like, all human life matters. He is like only he like wants to get rid of his own people. Like, how bad does the programming in Marley have to
Mm-hmm.
be for you to betray Marley by killing your own people? Like he is going against their government, but he's still doing it to
To
kill his
well,
own
to
people.
him, he's doing it in. He wants the problem to be over. He
Yeah,
wants the
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. He wants the same thing Aaron does, but his solution is there's no more if there's no more Eldians,
His
then the problem goes away.
his solution is trash though,
Oh no, it's a
because
bad.
it
They're
goes against
all the
all the
problems
like
are all of them are
it goes against
bad.
all the ideals of the series of like that
Oh yeah,
human life
obviously
matters.
it's awful. They're all awful. It just like
Yeah.
that is his plan. Even by the end, I do like that he has. I love his arc again. He's number 11 for me. Uh, and he goes through a
For
long
Allah.
arc. He does go through a very good character arc in my opinion. But he never really changes his mind. Like he's
Yeah, he's
another
so full of
character.
himself.
He's another
He's so
character.
disgusting.
I love him. He's like I one of my favorite scenes in the whole series is him like the very end of the Pad's flashbacks when
Hmm.
he's crying cuz his dad hugged him
Yeah.
and Grisha like begging him to stop Aaron. Like that's one of my favorite scenes in the
I
whole
guess
series.
I guess Zeke is like Crocodile in a way where he's just his downfall was his arrogance.
It was that
If you get what I'm
and
saying.
he all like I don't know, is he so hard character to talk about? But he like in that particular like flashback scene, like or that whole that chapter. Honestly, it's a chapter long arc where he goes through a whole character arc of Aaron showing him what his dad is actually like, and him
Hmm.
realizing that Grisha wasn't like who he thought he was, and he was just a good person. Like, and
Hmm.
that Aaron was the way
Yeah.
he was. I love that. I love that little arc there.
That was a good like
And that
whip on Zeke. Like you done messed up.
yeah yeah his character arc of he wants to save his little brother from his dad. When it's the
No,
other
he
way
doesn't.
around.
He
Yeah, well, yeah, he does. He
he
loves
doesn't.
Aaron.
No, 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 no. He doesn't.
He
No,
absolutely
that's
does.
all facade.
That is,
That's all a
but that's not
facade.
that part.
No,
That part is not a facade because that's
okay,
why he
okay.
brings Aaron through the flashbacks. Obviously, he doesn't know Aaron's controlling everything. He thinks he's doing it.
Listen, listen. I think I think Zeke thinks that he's doing it for his brother, but he doesn't care about anybody but himself.
That is
Let's be
not
real,
true.
okay?
I disagree
Let's be real.
entirely.
Why?
Because
Okay, let me make my point
okay,
and then you can. let me make my point.
Okay.
He doesn't care about anybody but himself because his best idea is to kill everybody. He's doing what Aaron is doing, but to his own people, which I would argue
Okay. Wait.
it's
Wait.
not
Wait.
okay. What
Would
they
you?
both think is bad, but he's doing it to his own people. Like he's like it's like those let me I'm not gonna make a comparison because it doesn't compare. But it's like and Aaron is betraying his own people too because he like marches off with the walls, right? He marches off with all the colossal titans and like and you see Annie and what's her name riding through the country and people are
Mm,
like dying because of what he did.
yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, everything will be solved after that." Like they're both stupid. They both
And like,
are not thinking this through. This is a very
yeah.
complicated political issue that's been going on for many years and the fact that they just want to nail a hammer to a screw. What did I describe? I remember writing. What did I write down in your chat in your Discord?
I
I
do not
wrote a
remember.
whole
Oh
thing
yeah,
about
you did write a
how.
large thing. It was good. It was a good read.
I mean, that's why we started. We wanted to
Mm,
do this episode because I did that. What did I say? I was so I I finished watching the anime and I was really upset at how everybody was like, "Oh, there's nothing that we can do about it, you know?" Like Aaron has no other choice than to genocide the rest of everybody. And I was like, no, that's not true. That's stupid. Like the
yeah.
people making excuses for him are arguably worse than Aaron himself because it's just like because even in the show, like Connie and John and like the rest of that the people that were left behind, they're left to argue about it. I remember that. Um
Well, that's a big part of the show is that Zeke and Aaron both chose two different paths, two very different paths, but two paths that were to them the only guarantees. Every other option, as much as, again, what they did, obviously wrong. I'm not defending their actions.
yes.
But to them, those are the only routes. Or that to each of them, that's the only route that guarantees what they want. That's the only route that guarantees the outcome. Whereas every other route uh, that like we have the scene with Hanji and Eren in the prison cell is
That's a good one.
is one of my favorites. It's Hanji's big arc through final season and being the commander is like the fact that she or that they never come up with a solution. They weren't able to offer Eren an alternative that was better. Eren wants them to so bad because to him, like he doesn't want to, again, not defending Eren. He doesn't want to kill everyone, but to him, that's the only in his insane mind. That's the only way to protect the people he cares about. But it's the only guaranteed, and he's not willing to risk it for a maybe. Uh, because unlike everyone else, he's fine with the murder of billions. So he
I
doesn't.
found the
Yeah.
I found the quote that I use. I said, so I watched this video about how this
Mm,
guy was also saying the same thing, that what Aaron is doing is wrong, and that just because it looks like it's the only way out doesn't mean it is. I
mm,
said, the guy in the video I watched said that Aaron specifically chose the simplest way out of the problem, and
yep.
that is exactly the problem. This is a geopolitical issue that has been going back thousands of years, and it can't be solved in less than one. Aaron took a hammer and smashed it on a screw that was connected to a nuclear bomb. If he had chosen teamwork and hard work instead of this approach, I honestly don't think they would have been in this situation. But the risks were too high
Mm-hmm.
for him, I guess. Emoji where the guy's slamming his face.
That's like that
Rant
is the
over.
big like there never really is a like answer because it didn't happen that way. Aaron did what is doing what he's doing. That's done. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But
I think
we,
Aaron got scared by the memories of his
yeah,
father. I think
there's,
that's what happened. And it spooked him so
well,
much
and the
that he
memories,
just like
yeah,
went
his
off the edge.
future memories. Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the
Ooh,
whole thing.
I don't know about that yet.
Uh,
I
Well,
don't I know that he sees the future through it's weird. I like watched a video about it, but I already forgot it. I know that that happens, but I don't know the context
I mean,
surrounding
you
it,
you have all
I
the
guess.
info for the most part. Like, I'm not worried about spoiling you on anything talking about this subject. Um,
Okay.
like, the simplest way to put it is the uh, attack Titan can see future memories, but only
Yes.
what the most recent person sends back. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yes.
Aaron can only send memories to like Grisha, and Grisha can send memories
Example,
back to
example.
Kruger.
Yes, yes, example. So, at the end, before Aaron Kruger dies, he says, if you want to save Mikasa and Armin,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to learn how to use these
Yeah,
powers. And
it's the reveal. The bit. Oh
Grisha
man.
Yeager asks, Grisha Yeager asks, who are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know whose memories are these. And so I
I
think this is
yelled
what happened. I
so
think
loudly
Grisha
reading that.
sent, I think Grisha sent the memory of him telling Aaron that to with Kruger so that Kruger could tell Grisha so that when Grisha met Armin and Mikasa that he would know like his time limit, I guess. I think
Okay,
Grisha's the one who sent those memories back to Kruger.
so Aaron,
That is my guess.
Aaron made it. No, that we like. It is. I will be. Will say a big problem I have is they are not very clear. He needed to be clearer on what the exact thing that happened was. Don't be subtle about this one thing. Just this one thing you shouldn't have been subtle about. So Aaron loopholed it. So he
Yeah,
showed.
yeah.
So Aaron, I've typed a whole thing out about this once about how complicated it is. But so most further present Aaron in paths with Zeke, talking to Grisha right before he killed
Yes.
the, convincing him to kill the family. By the way, peak Attack on Titan. That was one of the best days ever. Like seeing like him. What was it? You're the one who started the story.
I got
Oh, that's
I
such a
got
good scene.
spoiled on that.
Oh man, really wow. But him being
Just
the
like,
one that,
not the what he said to him,
mm,
but that he was the reason that
yeah.
happened.
So Aaron goes back and shows Grisha everything that happened to him, like
Up to a
in
certain point.
up to right then. So it is an important distinction that because a lot of people mistake this is that Aaron only has memories up to then, up to when he talked to, like up to when he becomes the founder, Titan, the big
Hmm.
giant skeleton. Um, uh,
Spooky, scary skeleton.
the very spooky, scary skeleton. The Shingeki no Kyojin. Um,
Yes, yes.
but he
That
only has
scene where
memories
he's
up to
invading
that point.
Marley,
Yeah, that's the end of the. Very good, very good scene.
the
I
parallels,
knew they
the
had to
Uno
end it.
reverse cards.
I love that they use the song Shingeki no Kyojin
Yeah,
in that
the
scene. It's
same
so good.
music.
Like that is the theme for the theme. It's so good. But to go back, he only has scenes up to that point. So he basically everything that happened to Aaron in the future, the current him. So we're gonna present day is he's in paths talking to Grisha from his POV. He
Hmm.
sent those memories back to Grisha because you can't send them back to your past self. You have to send them to a previous user. But remember,
Hmm.
you get the memories of previous users. So he loopholed the whole thing, sent memories back to Grisha, and then got those memories as current Aaron, like when he kissed Historia's hand.
Yeah, I assume that that's what happened.
Yes, so that is the explanation. Just a important distinction, which a lot of people do not realize, is that Eren cannot see past that moment when him and Grisha parted.
Yeah, because then he's not connected to the paths anymore.
Which,
He's
yes,
the founding titan.
a big
Like it's
part.
kind of like a loop. Like
Mm,
he restarted the loop. He's the founding titan now,
yeah,
I
a
guess.
big part of Eren to me is it was still a maybe. His solution wasn't guaranteed, even to him who could see the future. It was still, it'll probably work. It's the most likely to work, but it was still a maybe. An important part of Eren for me is that this is what he wants. Like, this is the solution. This is the solution he wants. And that is,
That's really sad.
it is. It's awful. But the best part about Eren is that he never changes. Ever. It's just the world that changes around him. And so, I'm gonna kill them all. It gets bad.
That it's
I love Eren. If I haven't mentioned, love him. Favorite character ever. Awful human being.
it it's really sad because his mom had those ideals of all life
Mm-hmm.
matters, and like
Which is
the
interesting
fact
because,
that he
again,
learned
you go.
the wrong lessons from
Mm-hmm.
that.
Because he
Like that's
never.
that's the legacy he leaves behind, the legacy of being a monster.
An
And
important
like
distinction they make right before that chapter, in chapter 121, whatever episode it was. I remember chapter numbers a lot, but not episode because, it came after. Um,
yeah,
is he makes the distinction to Zeke very clearly. I was born this way. Like, Grisha
that's
didn't do anything. He was just always like this. He was the 6-year-old who mercilessly killed 3 people. Well, 2 of them. I guess Mikasa killed the other one in self-defense.
they
But
were they were gonna kill them and sell them into
okay,
slavery. I don't think
yeah.
I think that's a dumb way
Oh
of
no, no.
oh, he's always been the
No, no, no,
same.
no.
It's like
Okay,
no, he was a 6-year-old
but he
child
didn't.
who's
He
defending
didn't
himself.
kill them. He killed them and then got on top of them and started stabbing them, screaming, "You animals! You deserve this!" As he was 6. Uh, like,
I
again, they didn't. They kind of did deserve it to an extent, but he was 6. That moment is obviously they use that multiple times through Mika's POV to show, oh, maybe because the only way she comes around to everything is to see, yeah, maybe he was always like this.
but he was a kind person though. He was a
He
kind
was
person.
oh, man, he was a kind
He
person
was.
to the people he cares about.
And then he changed. I think I don't like this idea that he was always like this from the start, but like yeah, there are undertones, but it's his dad's memories that spook him. It's like his experiences with the scouts that
Well,
spook
no,
him.
it's his
And
memories from the future,
it's
as dad gives him that
and his
spook him.
memories from it's like all of them. It's all of them together. Like the fact that like he doesn't like that the scouts die for him all the time. He doesn't like that what's like you said, he decided that he should do everything by himself. He chose the simplest option because he didn't want anybody else to die. He was not a coward, but like he
He
chose the easiest way out, and that ended up hurting way more people than it ended up doing. Like the over the course of the series, you see him like morph into this nihilistic like person. Like he used to be kind in season 3, part 1 at least. He was like, "Oh, I shouldn't live. Like I don't deserve to live." And then he
Mhm.
learns like from his mom that he deserves to live. Like of course he does. He was born to this world. But
Yeah,
then
from his, like,
part
that
2 comes around.
his character arc in season 3, part 1, the what is it called? That what's the arc name called?
No,
It's
I don't know.
uh it's the what's the political, oh, I'm gonna die. What's it called? Okay, you but his arc in that arc is very good. And it's him through Historia having her arc and accepting herself.
Oh yeah,
He
that was
then
nice. Yeah.
accepts accepts
himself.
himself to the extent.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the situation's bad, but the situation they're in is the situation they're in, and that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You can't go back and change it.
But
Like Levi, like again, that ties into Levi and Kenny's arc of no regrets. Like the
mhm.
situation you are here, we are here. There is nothing you can do to change that.
It's
Uh
funny because I feel like Aaron chooses the path with the most regrets.
oh yeah,
Sasha, like, I won't, spoilers?
Uprising. It's called Uprising arc.
Spoilers?
I just remembered.
Like, it's what is it called?
Uprising.
Uprising arc?
Yep, I know all
It's
the other arc names off the top of my head. But Uprising I couldn't remember.
he just I don't know. I don't like that people are like, "Oh, he's never changed or he hasn't changed," and stuff like that. Like he was a kid. He was 6 years old. He didn't know how to deal with a situation like this. So he killed them and he like started stabbing the person. That doesn't mean that he was like that this whole time. Like he would go to the ends of the
Well,
earth
yeah,
for the people that
that's
he
to show
loved.
him he would go to the ends of the earth to to protect the people he cares about, and
Yeah, but
it's to show
it's
like killing two random like guys that are trying to kidnap your friend. That is, you know, that's as far as he like you can. That's he did it. He protected his friends, and it's to really show as they show later on in the, when he goes off to kill billions of people, he'll do anything to protect his friends and the people he cares about.
that's not true because
Mm-hmm.
remember when they found out that Annie was the female Titan and he couldn't even transform because that
Okay,
reveal like shocked him so much?
that was a change from the manga, which
Oh,
I
okay.
will say whatever. It is
Well,
still a good. It is a good change at times. I like some of it. I go back and forth. They change that last bit so they can make it more of an like long set piece thing rather than
I
just
didn't know
one
that.
chapter. It's still a plot point. It's just it happened the one time and then went. Oh, it's basically like it didn't take a whole chapter, like or a whole few episodes. It was a one time thing, and he was like, "Wait, she's gonna kill everyone. Let's go." But I still it still happened in the anime, so I'm not going to be like it doesn't count.
Okay.
Uh, but again, at the end of the day, uh he still did it.
And he was the one defending Reiner and Bertolt when people were
Oh yeah,
suspecting them too.
he's
Like,
still like those. They are still people he cares about. Like even at the end there, even after everything they did, he came like obviously Aaron does change to a extent, but Aaron's core values do not change to. I don't know. Aaron is both the. I'm going to use that line because I was born into this world. It is the same words. Those are the same line every time. Never changes. The context it is used in makes them different, and that's Aaron. If that makes sense, is that a good allegory?
yeah, no, that's a good summarization of it.
Like
I'm just,
he's always the same person. It is not like there's a
yeah.
lot of character arcs that are and then they became evil and they are a completely different person than they were before. Which can happen. I there are people who I'm sure were awful before and now are very nice people or vice versa.
Every fairy tale villain.
But for Aaron in particular, I think a lot of other characters do go through that large arc where they are very different people by the end.
I
But
think Aaron is the only protagonist to antagonist that I've seen done very well
yeah,
in like media in general.
yeah, I'd agree.
Because like I don't know, I can't even think of like anybody on that level
Mm.
of like
Like there's a lot
he is
of
now the antagonist of
yeah,
the
yeah. There's a
series,
lot
which like
of like, and then he got evil, but he's still a protagonist. It's just he's now morally incorrect protagonist, which is always a good time. And I've seen some good villain protagonist, just very not very very rarely, or as far as I know, ever from what I've seen, does a character that well go from the protagonist to the antagonist. No ifs, ands,
I
or
think for
buts.
I think for me it was hard to consume season 4
Mm-hmm.
because it was slowly becoming clear that Aaron was the antagonist of the series. And I guess I didn't like that because, we've been on the, like you said, we've been on
Mm-hmm.
this journey with him for so long. And, Mikasa and Armin, like we love them too. And they're finding out too.
Yeah.
Like it's even harder for them to accept,
Mm-hmm.
like let alone us, right? And I think once you accept that, everything starts clicking into place. And it's like, wow, this is
Right.
really amazing. Like
Okay,
the
I
fact
also.
that Aaron is the bad guy is just,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what a revolutionary concept. It's not a revolutionary concept, but it's executed so well that like even the audience can't
Mm-hmm.
accept it, right? And even the audience is like, oh, what Aaron is doing is correct.
Well, I
When
think it
like,
also succeeds by never compromising on the like its values of everyone has a reason. Like there's no
yeah,
antagonist before that that isn't doesn't have their reason, even if it's a petty reason. Like I don't know what's his story's dad. Awful person. His reason for doing the awful things. He didn't want to die. If you say it
yeah,
like that, that seems makes it sound not that bad, right? Uh,
mm,
he just didn't want to die.
yeah.
He just sacrificed his daughter. Don't worry about it. Um, but they never they never sacrifice on that value, but still manage to make Aaron the clear antagonist.
And I think it's good that Gabby was introduced in season 4 as well, in the way
Mm-hmm.
that she is, and the fact that she's your second favorite character. She is there to tell us, the audience, that what Erin's doing is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's a reminder of that, and she's kind of like, and Reiner, in a sense, is all the characters around Eren are kind of like emphasizing that what he's doing is not okay,
Yeah,
and like the fact that they have to come to grips with that is hard for them as well. But it's Gabby who immediately sees him as the villain because he is the villain,
yeah.
right?
Like Gabby
And
is
then
very
we're like,
good for being the POV of someone who didn't know Aaron at all and only ever knew
yeah,
him as the evil guy. He didn't. Not
hmm
even Falco knew him as random crippled man. Gabby
yeah,
only ever met Aaron one time, twice. She met him
yeah,
twice.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
first time being
I was
the
so scared
room.
when I was like, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her because
Mm-hmm.
she killed Sasha.
Put your
He doesn't
hands on
even
the
call her by her
table.
name.
Such a good line.
He calls her the girl that killed Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even
And
have a
he's
name.
angry when he says it. I love that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he's
Ooh,
angry about it. Aaron doesn't care about
he
Gabby.
can't kill her because he doesn't know.
I
He
think
can't kill her because I thought
she's
the
the only
second
member of the
time he
main
met her.
cast. Wait, no, her peak a couple of the warriors, but most of the main cast Aaron cares about in some capacity.
Yeah.
Not Gabby.
Ooh.
Uh,
I thought the second time they met, I thought he was gonna kill her. I was like, she's
mhm.
dead. They're in a room alone together.
And then the second time they meet, she shot his head off and almost saved the day.
The third time,
Almost.
the third time they meet. Remember, the second time they meet is in the building in Peak
Oh, you're right. You're
when
right. In the
Peak
jail
and
cell.
what's
You're
his
right. I
name?
forgot
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's when
That's
I
also
thought
very
that
good.
Aaron was gonna kill
Okay.
her
Yeah, that's good.
because they're in a room alone
Mhm.
together. He knows that she's the one who killed Sasha. He has like, oh, she has a gun in her hand. Not a problem. Like I can do this 2 seconds. I don't even have to turn into a Titan. Like he could have choked her out.
Mhm.
She's a child.
Yeah.
I was so scared for her. I was like, you need to run. You need to jump out a window or something. Like season 4 is so tense. Like when me and
Mhm.
my sister were watching it, especially with the Gabby scenes, we couldn't breathe. Like literally, when uh they meet the chef that loved Sasha, right? And
uh,
Falco and Gabby, they go to him and they're like we need to get off
Niccolo,
the
right?
island. And yeah, Niccolo, yeah,
Okay.
that's his name. And like you can't even breathe. Like me and my sister were like, whoa, we couldn't breathe.
Mhm.
And then he hits the wine bottle on Falco. My sister pauses it, and we're like, we started breathing it because it was just so tense. Like
Okay, you
we
know what? I
couldn't.
gotta say, Well, not on my top 20. I want to say honorary top 20 member, Sasha's dad.
Mm.
Honorary top 20 member. Not really up there, but he would
Yeah,
be. Man, that is.
he did the hard thing. He did the hard thing, and he like stood up for what was right. Like,
Like
you
it's
know,
it's one of the best
that's what
moments
they
too.
all
If
should
you
have
ever
done.
get the chance, watch that scene in the dub. I think that is the best like voice performance in the series possibly. For some reason,
Ooh,
her
okay.
like Sasha's dad's voice actor is so good in the dub. I mean, like he's
Does
good
he
in the
have
sub
like an
too.
accent?
It's
Does
like
he give
a
an
little bit
accent
of
in the dub?
yeah, kind of like a southern drawl,
Southern accent? Draw,
to but
yeah.
not like
'Cause-
extreme. It's
right,
like an old western voice.
right.
It sounds like
Yeah.
he came from right from Red Dead. Like
That's cool. I'll definitely give it a watch.
he's it.
Maybe when I rewatch it,
He
I'll
was
watch
good
it
in
in
season 2.
dubbed.
Ooh, it is a pretty. A lot of people disagree. I'm a dub fan personally,
I think
but
for me, I like the sub because
the sub is
Levi's voice
incredible.
actor.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't
Levi's
get me
voice
wrong.
actor
Yuki
and
Hachi.
Erwin's
Wait,
voice actor,
yes.
even Hanji's voice actor. So much fun.
Oh yeah, Hanji's voice actor is incredible. Everyone's again. Everyone is incredible in the Japanese. For the dub, there's a few good ones. I think Aaron is very good personally. I'm trying to think of one of like the standouts. Reiner is one that I see people dislike a lot, but he's one of my favorites in the English. Like he's really stands out. And I not on the same level as the Japanese voice actor, but Levi's voiced by Matt Mercer. Do you know who that is?
I've heard of him. He's like a Kingdom Hearts character too, right?
He is. Yes, he's. Oh man, he's the horse. He's the unicorn guy. Um,
What?
it, he's one of the
Oh, in
foretellers.
the oh, the one of
Envy?
the
No, not envy.
founders,
Yeah, he's one of the foretellers.
foretellers. There you go.
Oh, what's his name? I'm gonna Ira. His name's Ira.
Man, Dark Road is coming out in August 26th. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. Maybe we'll get a Kingdom Hearts podcast after Dark Road comes out.
That's
We'll see.
if the audience didn't know, that's how I met Inagro and Lucian
That's
through
right.
Kingdom Hearts Twitch streamers.
It
I
was
think
it
we
was
started
Kingdom
talking
Hearts.
a lot on
I was trying to
Whales.
remember recently. Yes, it was Whale's stream, but what game was it? Like what game
She
did you
was
come in?
playing Melody of Memory and
Oh,
she was
okay.
streaming the 24, not the 24 hour, but like she was trying to not binge it.
Yeah,
What's
the
the
platinum
speed
speed
run it?
run,
She was trying to
which
speed,
took
yes,
over
the platinum
24
speed
hours.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that morning I couldn't go to sleep. Like I woke up early and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I was
Mm-hmm.
just with her all day because I didn't have any homework or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. And you were talking trash to me, I remember. I mean, I threw shade back at you too, but I think that's how I officially got to know you.
I was trying to think of that
Yeah.
actually just the other day.
And
But
then
you
I found out you had a Twitch stream, and so I
ah,
started going
that's
on
right.
your
That's right.
Twitch stream more than Whales because, like, with you guys, I could just talk to you and it'll be like a conversation, but with Whale, you had to wait. I mean, like, she's growing, and that's great for her. I love her. No, she's awesome. I love her. Uh, but I get impatient sometimes, and I want to like, how long did it take for you to meet Lucian versus like talking to me over a voice call?
What do you mean? Like, how long did it take for me to start talking to Lucian in voice call?
Yeah,
Um, like 9, 10 months.
yeah, and me, it wasn't that long. It was
No.
less
Now,
than that.
granted, I am much more. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a social butterfly, but I'm much more so than when I was in high school. When I was what I was 17, 16, 17. I think when I met him.
I think I think for me, it's I like don't have a lot of friends, so when I do make friends,
Mm-hmm.
I try and speedline the process as fast as possible so that I can have like
Mm-hmm.
the most amount of experience with them because I know like because of my lifestyle, it'll
Just so
end
you can
soon.
use
But
them for
then
your podcasting network. I knew it.
No,
uh,
oh, literally, I texted you guys on a whim to start the podcast. I was like, they're gonna say no, they're not gonna want to do it.
little did you know that I've
I
been
was shocked with you
dreaming and
guys.
just never had the confidence to ask anyone to do a podcast with me.
No, I like get to the point because I know this relationship's not gonna last at all, which is why
Now I'm sad.
we were talking about Attack on Titan.
Yes, you
I'm
know who has
embarrassing.
good friends? That's right. I'm trying to think of an Attack on
Please
Titan
don't say
character
it.
that has particularly good friends, and Aaron's the only one that comes up. And you know
Yeah.
what? Not a good example. Levi had good friends. Rip.
Yeah. Oh, you know who my
They're all
second
dead.
favorite character is?
Um,
Since you
Jean.
got to name your 20 favorite character, it is John.
I
How
knew
did
it.
you
I
know?
didn't know it. I actually didn't. I just guessed it. Nice.
Oh, that's a good
Woo.
guess. How did you know?
I'm trying
I
to think
mean,
of
like, how
what
did you
characters
guess?
did we not talk about yet, and I was thinking which one would it be of the characters we haven't talked about yet. Jean, who has good friends.
He is my second favorite character. Yes, he
Jean's
does have
very
good
good.
friends.
Number 9. Sometimes I think 8, maybe.
He's number 9 for you? How? I don't understand
Maybe
that.
maybe 8. I go back and forth between him and Hanji for 8.
Ooh, and then I think for me, it's Levi and Bertold are tied at top.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Jean, and then it's Hanji.
All good characters.
I
I
think for
have.
me, I like even when back when I watched the Trust District,
Mm-hmm.
like back in the day, before I binged the whole series. John was my favorite during that because he realized like
That's
what
fair.
his
Yeah.
role in the military is, and he is like, I react to other people's reaction, and I
Oh,
keep people alive doing that. And I really just like, I don't know, it's such a niche
I like Sean
aspect to have.
because he's a character that his motivation never changes. And like his motivation, his wants and desires
Interesting.
don't really change. But I watched this scene like right before we recorded while I was eating dinner in towards the end of the final season when he rescues like when he shoots the gun and rescues Oni Capone
That
and
is my
Yelena
favorite John scene.
when he
That's my favorite John
right
scene.
after that when they're in the lake and Oni Capone is asking him like why you could have had everything you want if you just gone with them. It would have like you would have had a cushy life forever, and it is the same thing as before. And the line of like, I think it's slightly different in the sub dub and manga, like just a little bit different. But like the line of I couldn't I couldn't do it, or else the that pile of ashes would never forgive me.
Yeah, and he's talking about Marco.
Yeah,
Oh,
Marco and
such a good
those burning
scene.
bodies that like defines him for the entire series.
It does actually, yeah.
And like Jean is so good. Most underrated character in Attack on Titan, no
Oh yeah,
question.
definitely. He's my second favorite character, so not underrated for me.
You know who else is
Underrated
underrated?
for hmm.
Unless you want to say more about Jean.
I think for me, I liked him a lot in the Trost arc, and then he's kind of like a background character for most of it, but he
Well, I
always
think
adds his own flair to the situation. He always voices his opinion. He
mm-hmm,
never like doesn't voice his opinion, and he always, but like when he knows he's wrong, he'll step down.
yeah,
I really like that. And then because it's when so that scene that you just described is one of my favorite scenes with Jean. And then when him and Mikasa meet with Hanji before that happens
mm-hmm,
to make they before they make the plan and stuff like that. That's also why I like Hanji a lot, that scene.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Is that the one
but
where
with
she just
John,
quote genocide is
oh
wrong?
yeah.
Quote direct quote. Just to make it super clear what the message of the story
Yes.
is.
Um, and I think with John, just like like he always puts what's right first
Mm-hmm.
before what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, I can do that, but should I do that? That's his
Mm-hmm.
character. And he always kind of like bounces off of like different characters doing that. And he's just like he's like a malleable character, I guess. Like, you can do whatever you want with him. And what he decided to do with him was
Yeah.
really
Really good.
interesting. Like, he interacts differently with different characters. And he, he's always the voice of reason, I would
Yeah,
say.
he
But like
very
not
much
in
so.
season four, because he had like that internal struggle a little bit.
Hmm.
But he's always like, I remember in season three when Armin didn't know what to do, he put John in charge of the
Yeah,
situation because he's like, I'm freaking out, like I don't have a level head, but who has a level head in situations like this? John does. And the fact that but like Jean is like, okay, I'll take over for now, but I don't have a long-term solution to the problem that we are having right now.
yeah.
And so I love that he knows his faults
Mm.
and that
He
makes him need to work in a team.
he has a very
That's what I like
interesting
about
arc because, like, going back, it's obvious he was intended to have a similar arc to Armin, like becoming like a leader based on like
it.
lines
Yeah.
Marco said to him. It's obvious that was the intent at some point, but because Armin had that arc, you can't really give that to Jean. So his is like became about being the secondary guy. Like
I like
he's not the
Jean
smartest or the
has
brightest, but he just has to always
yes.
follow like what he thinks is right.
John is like Liam Neeson. He has a particular set of skills.
Mm-hmm. He's very good. Never forget. I
And
believe, if I remember correctly, he was the number one. Uh, was he was the number one at what's it called, the ODM gear. He was the number one person that was not uh, we'll say physically
Mikasa.
enhanced. I think like Annie and Ryan. I think Reiner was above him. That's it. He was number three. I think he was number two or three, with Mikasa being one, and I think Reiner being right under. But he's the best at it. Like he's
Yeah,
just a good soldier through and through, and he easily made it into the military police if he wanted. But
but he didn't, and
no.
that's what's awesome about him.
Now, you know who is also an underrated character? I'm going to use the segue again. Connie.
Go ahead.
I love Connie.
Oh yeah.
Love Connie.
See, he's good in season four.
Yes,
I
obviously
didn't I didn't see him a lot.
I think he's best in season 4 obviously. But you go.
I think we should let Connie be our last character that we talk about because we've been
Really?
talking for a very long time. Yes, that's what I'm saying. What do you? Because I mean, I feel like you could talk forever about
I
this.
could. I have many other characters to talk about.
We
But
can always do a second episode.
we could. I mean, I feel like we'll talk about this again when final season part 3 comes
Oh
around
yeah,
in
we
hopefully
are gonna
January.
do that.
Definitely 100%
Maybe we
got
can
it.
make that a live stream or something.
Gotta. I mean, we'll see how. I'm gonna wait to see how many episodes there'll be before saying what we should do, because there are
Okay.
9 chapters left to
Yeah.
adapt, and I don't know how they're gonna stretch that out over I don't know, because okay, I will say I think final season part 1 is my least favorite adaptation wise. I think it stretches out too much. Like it doesn't. It's too many chapters to too few episodes. It adapts from chapter 100 and sorry, no, chapter 90 to chapter 116. So that is 20 yeah, 26 chapters I believe across 16 episodes, which doesn't seem like a lot when I say it out loud, but it is a lot. And that he trying to
It
just
is.
shove it in there a
I
little
feel
too
it.
much.
Yeah, I feel it when I watch it.
Like I'll point to Marley arc. The Marley arc from up to Aaron, like, uh doing the thing and killing all the people at the stadium. That 5
I think
episode stretch there is 10 chapters.
I think it's for me it's the Willie Tiber stuff and like
Mm.
introducing the
Yeah.
world too quickly.
Well,
I think
that's
that's the
yes, that's
problem.
exactly what I'm saying is
You
that
should have spent more
those
time
those
there.
5 episodes are chapters 90 to 100. So that's 10 chapters
That's
over 5
crazy.
episodes. Whereas season 2 part 2 is the best adaptation because it
You
is
mean
telling
season four, part two? Season two doesn't have part two.
math. Um, final season part 2 uh, is telling from chapter 100 and 117, I believe. Yeah, 117 to 130. Yeah, 130 across. So it's 13 chapters across 12 episodes.
Right, it's a good like
It's
space
almost one
pacing.
per episode, and especially at that point where it very much slows down, like the story, like it is not a
Hmm.
quick, fast pace or anything. I really like the adaptation. And I did want to bring up, well, before we end or anything, I wanted to bring up that the one big change, there was only one major change. Otherwise, almost a shot for shot like remake of the manga, just in anime form, with the one exception of it's the flashback scene where from Mika's POV where they're in the past, where they're back in Marley. The flashback to them arriving at Marley. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that change. Yeah.
So that whole section there is, it's intertwined with Aaron doing stuff more like a little bit further in the past and setting everything up with the Flock and Historia and such. So it was
Right.
that those flashbacks though, with just the part of them in Marley as a group and them all getting drunk and
Yes, yes, yes.
that part,
It's literally the last episode.
yeah, the last episode of the season. Except that part in the manga is actually right after the rumbling starts.
I actually know that change. I watched like a
Okay.
YouTube video about it. There's this YouTuber who compares the manga to anime adaptation by
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I sent you a
I
link.
think. Oh, yeah, I remember
And
that.
yeah,
I
he
forgot about
he
that.
talks about that actually. So I actually know that
Yeah.
change.
I actually really like that change because
Me
it
too.
it throws that to the forefront. Whereas, well, one, the pacing wise, I like it, but two, it also really informs Mikasa, right? Mikasa and Aaron right there.
Hmm.
Like the without like as much as everyone is it is a ensemble cast, no question, in the whole of the final
Yes.
season. Mikasa is the forefront most POV screen time, and
You could
especially
say that she's like the main character.
yeah, I think
I would say.
a big thing with the series is that each arc has a different set of main characters. This is
I
something I've
agree with
always
that,
wanted to
yes.
talk about. So I'll try to be quick because I think we need to end soon. But so Trost, like Trost arc has okay. If I don't say otherwise, Aaron is involved. Aaron was one of the main characters
Hmm.
of every arc. Uh, but other than him, in Trost, it's Aaron, Mikasa, and Jean are all main characters. Everyone else is secondary. In the
Hmm.
female Titan arc, Aaron, Levi, Armin, and Annie are the main characters, whereas Mikasa and Jean, who were previously main characters, are secondary.
Okay.
In Clash of the Titans, it's Aaron, Reiner, Ymir, and Historia. And then,
Yes.
uh, and so on and so forth. Whereas each arc has a different set of main characters. I think final season. Well, okay. There's Marley arc where Reiner, Gabby, and Falco are the main characters. Um,
Yes.
but when we get to the, I forget what they call, it, but everything after Marley arc is one arc in the manga.
Really?
Yeah,
Holy
it's the
guacamole.
no. I think I actually know they separated them at some point. It was War for Parody and then Rumbling arc. I don't remember exactly what they call it. Because if the fans decided arc stuff and then there's official arc stuff. It's complicated. But from that point
Okay.
on, after Marley arc, I would like it's my opinion that it is a ensemble cast show from that point. Everyone in the alliance is a main character. Everyone in the alliance and Flock and Shadis and McGath. I guess he was part of the alliance. Never mind. All of them.
Yeah.
They get their own POV screen time. All of those people in the alliance get more POV time than Aaron in the final season. Like they get more time. We
That's
get
true.
more time from their POV than from Aaron. The
Hmm.
only time, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but the only time in Final Season Part 1 and 2 we get Aaron's POV is uh Actually, no, it's not. Even in the anime, it's not that. In the manga, we get it in the fight against the Warhammer. We get to hear his thoughts. But the only time in the manga, the only time we get to hear his thoughts, and I think the anime, I don't remember exactly. It's been a while.
We do. He's just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I figured out the
Yeah.
weakness
So
of the
the
Warhammer
Warhammer
fighting.
fight, and then the final episode.
The past.
Those, yeah.
Oh, like you
Even
mean we hear his thoughts?
even
Okay, I
paths
see.
we are seeing from Zeke and Grish's POV. We are never from
Yeah, yeah.
Aaron's POV.
That's a good. That's good. You skipped season three though. I want to say the main characters for season three.
Oh, okay.
So season three, part one
Let's hear it.
is
Mm-hmm.
Levi, Kenny, Historia, and let's put Aaron in there for
Yeah,
good
I
measure.
would say all four of them. Yes, those are the four. I would
And then
argue Kenny maybe not so, but I'll take it. I'll
Kenny is
agree.
the antagonist of
Yeah,
that arc.
but he's I'd
And
probably agree with you though. He gets as much screen like importance to the story as the other those other three.
hmm and then season three, part two,
Mm-hmm.
it's Aaron, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Armin,
Mm-hmm.
Erwin, and Levi.
Yeah, those are I would list as well. See, again, this is not an official thing or anything. This is just who I think.
Right.
That's exactly who I would have listed as well. Those four. As much as even everyone gets character stuff for that arc.
Yes.
Like, what is it? Marlowe gets character stuff. Reiner,
Oh yeah.
Barrett Holt, like you said, Barrett Holt gets the best stuff he ever gets. But I would say those four that you
Yeah.
listed are the four for that
I
arc.
would say Bertolt is the antagonist for that arc, along with
Yeah.
Zeke, and
Zeke and
but
Reiner
I feel
and
like he's the main one because he's the one that Aaron and crew have to deal with, right? Aaron and Armin, the two main
mhm.
characters, have to deal with Bertolt at the end of that arc. So I would say he's the main antagonist of that arc. He's so good though. I love Bertolt. He's so sad when he died. When he died, it was so scary.
Yeah.
I was like, when he called out to his friends and
Yeah.
then they didn't respond to him, and so then he called out to Annie and Reiner. It was so sad.
That's really good. I love all that.
Okay. Um, can I make some predictions? A reverse, Uno
I
reverse card.
will.
You
We
make
need
predictions?
predictions. Wait, rank all the arcs.
What?
You got to do it. No,
So
you
I'm
don't.
gonna break them
Oh,
in
okay. You're
seasons.
going to do it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I actually do like
Cool.
to.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so season three is my favorite arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would
It's part one and
say
two
season two, and then season one, and then season four.
at the bottom. Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a rough one for
Okay.
me,
I can
just
tell
because,
you.
like you said, in part one, it's really clunky, just a
I,
little bit.
I can tell you.
Hmm.
My least favorite arc, the first one. My second least favorite
Okay,
arc, the second arc. My third least.
okay,
It could go on and on. I think every arc is better than the last.
all right. It's like One
Like
Piece.
every now and then I go back and forth between Uprising and Clash of the Titans. I'll switch those two in and out interchangeably. But other than that, I think very, very definitively I like every arc more than the last.
If we're doing it based on arcs, my favorite arc is the Uprising, but I won't list anything else because ranking is stupid.
Now rank all top 20 characters. Go. Every episode in
Shut
order.
up. Um,
Okay, prediction
so
time.
can I make predict? So usually in the One Piece podcast, Inagro gets to make
Mm-hmm.
predictions because he's reading it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But since I haven't read the latest manga chapters, I've only caught up to the anime.
Yes. And
I get to
so,
make a prediction this
as
time.
I'll, so for reminders of the situation, everyone not listed on the boat.
Yes.
Any people, the list of people not on the boat. Historia, she's just sitting on the farm, being sad and depressed, uh,
And
and
pregnant.
having a baby. That's all she
It's
gets.
actually not good for your baby if you're like emotionally depressed.
I think she's kind of upset about letting billions of people die. She's kind of morally conflicted
Yeah.
about it. We didn't really get to talk about Historia. I know they did use her very, very little. I love that they take her arc. Just very quickly. I'm sorry. I know you. I know you want to get predictions
It's
very
okay. It's
quickly.
okay.
I love. I know she gets very little and wish she got more in the final season, but I do love that they take
I
her
wish
arc
this did this.
from Uprising arc, the arc of becoming like, you know, her Emir influencing her to care about herself and to actually do things like live for herself and taking that to the absolute of extreme of if you don't let these billions of people die, you and the people you care about are going to die. In her mind,
Right.
they took it to the absolute extreme. I wish they did more with her, but that's for another day. Sorry. Go. Wait. I'm sorry. Aaron, he's a skeleton, far away.
Spooky, scary
That's the whole
skeleton. You
cast.
can't
We
stand
got
them.
Historia.
Da-da-da.
I guess what's her name? Hitch is
Oh,
also there.
man, Hitch was cool too.
Yeah, Hitch is also cool.
Um,
But that's the whole cast.
so
Almost the entire cast is on the boat.
my prediction
What's your predictions?
is that Mikasa
Mm-hmm.
kills Eren.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen.
Good prediction. I like that prediction.
Uh,
That was a heavy popular prediction from. I would say the first time that prediction was brought up was chapter 100.
cool.
Like
Okay.
when he would he turn into the the attack titan on the stage. With
Okay.
Declaration of War. That's the first time I ever saw
And
that
I'm
prediction.
okay. And I kind of been spoiled on some panels. Like I
Okay.
don't have the context for them, which really sucks. But I'm kind of basing these predictions on those, but I'm not gonna say what
Okay.
I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So Mikasa's gonna kill Eren, like
Okay.
she has to. It's like the story is leading in that direction, I feel like.
There are
And
very
the
few
basically
there are very few ends to the character
the
arc she's
crew.
currently having, and that is one of the options. That was
Yeah.
that was like there are a few options, and that was one of them.
The crew on the boat, they're gonna successfully stop Eren.
Mm-hmm.
Not not before. Like Eren is gonna get some people.
Mm-hmm. It already
He's
has.
gonna
Already
stomp
has.
on some. Yeah, he's already stomping on some people, so obviously they're not gonna stop him in time,
Okay, give
but
me a
they
number.
will
How many
stop him at
people is he
some
gonna
point.
stomp?
I don't know, like millions, because by the time they reach what's it called, Marley, like most of Marley's already gone, right? If what I remember correctly, because
That
Annie
is
is
what
like the
they.
press,
Yeah,
her dad dies.
Annie did. That is a thing to remind you is that Annie quit basically. She found out that they weren't going to be able to save her dad and realized, though, I have no point to continue, so she quit. Uh,
What? She's not.
I mean,
No,
that's what
she
she
says
said.
like I'll keep going, but
No, she said she
like
doesn't
she's
want to
like, but
fight
one of us
anymore.
needs to kill him. Oh
She and
no,
then
that sucks.
she talked to Mikasa saying like, "Can you do it?" Because she does.
Yes,
I don't believe
she does ask her. Yeah,
she doesn't believe that Mikasa could do it, and therefore, what's the point even? Because
I
Mika
mean, the
can.
last time she saw
Yeah,
Mikasa, she stomped on her
yeah,
face.
yeah. Again, if Mikasa's not going to do it, that means they'll have to fight Mikasa as well, and then they can't do it really.
Right.
Probably, it's a
Yes, that's true.
if they're not all in, then why should she even be all in when the one thing she cares about is gone? Or theoretically,
Hmm.
again,
That really
theoretically.
sucks.
But
Ah,
that's the situation on the
man.
boat. Annie did just quit. Gabby and Falco and Peek are sad because McGaff's dead.
Yeah. I don't think I have any other. I think Reiner is gonna die
Oh, okay.
because it's been like there have been death flags this whole
Mm-hmm.
time. I thought he was gonna die. I thought what's his name was gonna inherit the Armor
Armor Titan.
Titan. I
Mm-hmm.
thought Falco,
No,
but he ended up
we
inheriting
had to for
the
the
Triple Titan,
third time in a
the
row.
most.
Jaw Titan sacrificed themselves for Reiner.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It is
I
a.
noticed that as
It's. I
well.
love that. I love that it's all three Jaw Titans sacrifice themselves for Reiner.
Falco has the best Titan design. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're
That
right.
is my
That's
hot take.
correct.
So Reiner's gonna die, trying to stop
Mm-hmm.
Eren. And I think, I don't know who else is gonna die though. So somebody like, we're gonna get people they're gonna die trying to stop Eren.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think Reiner's gonna be one of those people. I don't know who else. I don't want anybody else to die
Mm-hmm.
because everybody else is really cool. But, this is Attack on Titan. And I think that's it. I think, yeah,
What do you think they're gonna
that's pretty
do?
much it for me.
I'm. What do you think they're gonna do with Levi? What do you think Levi's gonna do? What do you think he's
Oh
gonna do?
yeah,
Anything?
he's there
He
too.
is crippled on the
He's
boat.
gonna kill Zeke. He's
Oh,
gonna kill Zeke. He said
but
he said he was gonna
how?
kill Zeke, so he's gonna kill Zeke. He's Levi, he'll figure it out.
That's fair. Ugh.
I forgot Levi was on the boat.
Yeah, Levi is on the boat. Well, that's because he's done nothing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he
yeah.
got like he got blown apart, which is fair, you know.
Yeah, I want him to take Zeke and burn him and stomp on his face and, just desecrate him over and over again. That's what I want to happen.
Interesting.
I think
Hmm.
I think I went a little too far there.
So you think they're gonna kill Aaron? How are they gonna do it?
I I think Mikasa's gonna take her ODM cure and cut off his nape. I think that's classic
That's
way.
fair. That's true. That's fair.
Any more questions, sir?
I'm trying to
Professor?
think if I want to, poke at it anymore. Because if I poke too much, then you'll get spoiled.
Yes.
So I don't think I don't think so. I don't think I got any. Because we'll see how it goes.
Oh, another
Oh,
prediction.
okay.
I think Titans are gonna disappear forever. Like, remember,
That has
I
been a
don't know.
prediction. That was a prediction for as long as the series been around. Or I know
I don't know if you
as soon as
remember.
the like 13-year time limit came up is when people started predicting that. Not gonna
I
say
don't know
whether it's
if you
correct.
remember, but you were playing like a fighting game. I think you were playing a JoJo's fighting game with Lucian. When we were
Uh
talking
huh.
about
Oh
JoJo's Bizarre
no, did I
Adventure,
spoil you?
and Lucian, what? No,
Okay.
and Lucian had the prediction that Stan in the JoJo Bizarre Universe would go away by the end of the
Ah,
series.
okay.
So that's what gave me the idea that like Titans would disappear by the end of the series because they're too powerful and like like all the reasons that he listed
Mm-hmm.
for stands I put into Titans. So
That's
I think that's it.
true. That's a good prediction. Interesting. Very interesting. How do you think it's gonna? How do you what do you think the ending is going to be? Like very end. Remember, nine
I don't
chapters. We
think
got
they're gonna
nine
show.
chapters worth of story left.
I don't think they're gonna show like I think the series is gonna end when Mikasa kills Eren. I don't think they're gonna show what happens afterwards. I think it's gonna be one of those shows where they don't show like
Mm-hmm.
10 years later or like with Bleach and Naruto and stuff like that where they show like them having kids or whatever. I think it's just gonna end with Mikasa killing Eren and then that's it.
Interesting. Very interesting. I guess we'll find
You're
out
making me
in
very excited.
January. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see.
If the animators got their food.
Yeah, if they get their food, if they finish Chainsaw Man on time, we'll see. That honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Chainsaw Man delayed Attack on Titan, because I believe it's the
Yeah.
same like division doing both. But well, we will find out at some point in the future,
Yep.
and then we'll talk
I
about
think this is a good episode.
it. It
This
was,
was fun.
yeah,
We have to do another one
definitely.
when the
Okay,
series ends.
we will
And Lucian
100%.
has to be on it.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Commander Lucian, R.I.P.
We'll see.
Rest in peace.
Yes, died to the Beast Titan. Can't believe it.
Yep. Okay. I'm ending it, right? Because I introduced. So
Sure.
thanks, guys, for listening to our conversation
Our
about
rambling.
Attack on Titan.
Our
Yeah,
random
basically, there wasn't
rambling about
really,
Attack on Titan. Definitely the final
we didn't
season
really plan.
discussion.
We didn't really plan it or anything like that. We just really wanted to talk about it, and Lucian was just not interested in talking about it.
And this
He's
is
dead.
a
He's dead
perfect,
to us.
convenient time. We got to fill in a slot. So now we're not even a week closer to episode coming out from when it's aired or
Yeah.
recorded. So
We
this will be
had,
good.
and back on the next week's episode is going to be about my favorite arc. Ooh, my favorite saga. So excited. In One Piece, at least. I'm not
Mhm.
talking about Attack on Titan anymore. I'm doing a little dance. I'm so excited. I love this saga. It's so fun. And you can't know the name. Don't do any
No,
research, I
I
Agro.
haven't even read
We
the
we have
chapters
to
as
go
of
into this
this
blind.
recording.
That's good. I have to read the chapters for next week. This is actually good. We got a little bit break from Alabasta. Um, talking about Attack on Titan.
Hmm.
And I haven't really talked Attack on Titan except with my siblings,
Yeah, I
so
don't
this
like
is
to
really
talk
nice
about it
getting another
with
person's
anyone.
perspective.
I do not like to talk about the series with anyone, even though I love to talk about it. That's why Lucian has to listen to
With
me talk to him all the time. Not talk with him, talk to him about it.
That's why he died. He didn't die from the Beast Titan. He died.
Exactly.
I know you're talking to him about it. Was this a good conversation? I hope it wasn't like you hated talking about it.
I think it was a pretty good conversation. Turns out you're
That's
reasonable
good.
than most people on the internet. That's a good thing. That
I'm
was
so
fun.
glad I passed your test. I did it, guys. I did it. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.